Hey, everybody. Can you hear the ice cream man outside? It's Artie. Welcome to Age of Quarantine. I'll wait till some people are following before I actually talk. How's everybody doing today? On day 3,467 of not being able to work on lockdown bullshit. I hope everybody's doing okay. And once again, this is Age of Quarantine, brought to you by St. Vitus Bar, which is the Instagram you were on. Normal hosts would be such people as Chris Enriquez and or Dave Castillo. And yeah, Chris's YouTube page has all the stuff you want to see that has already been recorded. Tonight, having old friend of mine on, as most of the people I interview are. His name is Adam Lazzara, and he is the singer of Taking Back Sunday, who are big time rock stars. And but they're also my friends. And I'm gonna show this to you now. This is a picture of me and Adam when Adam was, I think, 16, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask him. I'll show it again when he comes on. Oh, what's everybody doing? Oh, connecting.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes!
Hey, woo!
Yay! You look like you're in the middle of the woods.
Cool.
So I mean,
Cool. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I'm just in the backyard. Yeah. How do you like my mustache, Artie? Tell me all about it.
I mean, it's not as good as Adam Marino's, but I'll take it. It's also got a beard involved.
Rarely are.
Dude, I mean, you need that mustache to ride your motorcycle. So,
True.
You can't ride your motorcycle without
I actually got rid of my motorcycle, but don't tell anybody on the internet.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well, like when you're the guy that the tree falls on, it's probably time to get rid of the bike,
Jesus Christ. Well, okay. All right.
So, real quick, during that debacle of me trying to sign in, I also found this picture.
We both have it. It's That's so awesome. Yeah. So how old were you in that picture, you think?
I was like 15 or 16. And then because you guys had played in, it was actually, I found another photo from the show. You were playing on someone's front porch. Here's the photo.
Yeah. No, it was Al. I thought it was Al. Didn't Al
live in that? From Blankface.
Yeah.
So the show was in Chapel Hill, and that was a fun time.
That was fucking awesome.
I was driving a.
You were driving a what?
I was driving a Datsun Nissan Sentra before Nissan was just Nissan.
Gotcha. Well, it was fun, and it kind of leads me into hi, how you doing?
Good.
you all holed up in your house there in Tyler, Texas?
Yeah, well, no, we're in North Carolina now, and then we were going between Charlotte and Raleigh, but now we're mainly in Raleigh. So yeah, we haven't left since March, so that's something. Yeah,
seriously. Well,
are you doing the same?
I am. Yeah. Just homeschooling and still in the same apartment that you remember me living in with Rebecca.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so
it's
up
crazy.
There,
yeah,
we're
we've
down
been
in Park Slope there. Yeah.
It's sort of Park Slope. We've been there 21 years and 20 years, and I'm actually sitting in the bar that I bought. That's right around the corner from there on Fifth Avenue. So it's
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's obviously not open except on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for to go. Anybody want to come down? I'm manning the beers.
Nice.
Yeah, just trying to pay the property tax.
Can you give other drinks like other than beer to go, or is it just like beer and wine?
You can give anything you want.
See, they haven't figured that out in North Carolina, man. And it's a bummer.
Because people got to drive. I mean, I'm just getting walk-bys,
Oh,
so,
true.
So right, it's like, it's super easy. But yeah, man, fucking. Anyway, welcome to Age of Quarantine. I'm psyched you're doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
I do every Wednesday for the most part, and usually with my famous friends who have a history with me and try and keep me from drunkenly talking about myself too much. But which I'm pretty good at. So what was it that, like, so how did you get into music in North Carolina, and how did you wind up on fucking Long Island?
Well, so there were when I was in high school, there was like a group of bands that had somehow made with like Silent Majority, and Glassjaw, and um, Millhouse, and like other Long Island bands. They had made friends with them, or the bands in North Carolina were like Blank Face and Pest and 30
Right.
Deep, and then so they're
Code 7.
kind of started. Code 7, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. That was actually one of the first shows I ever went to, was a Code 7 show, and it was when Dave and Jeff were singing, so they had two singers. But so they yeah, so it became kind of like a brother sister kind of scene for us, and I was kind of always like the little brother, like tagging along, like in the cartoons, like in like Tom and Jerry or something. There's like the tough bulldog and then the tiny bulldog that's kind of like following the big one around. I was like the little one, and then just kind of and I loved the music and going to the shows. So, anyways, long story short, that's how I was introduced to like that whole scene.
Okay. And it was just interesting to me when all you guys rolled up, like Mitch and Al and you, and like everybody kind of rolled up to Long Island and Brooklyn, like
Yeah.
at the same time. It was a super weird. It's just like, why would you guys want to come here? Because like where you live is really nice. But I guess everybody wanted to get the fuck out, and
Yeah.
Taking Back Sunday is the reason you moved up to Long Island, correct?
Yes, that was there. I had known of Eddie, from being in Mind Over Matter, and then from being in Movie Life, and then so when he they came down, and it was actually Phil
Hanratty, yeah.
Hanratty, yeah, was filling in on bass for Taking Back Sunday, and I had gone to the show, and when I got to the show, I saw Phil there. I was like, oh, I didn't know Airtype 11 was playing. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm with my buddy Eddie's band. And then so we got to talking after the show, and I was like, well, I can play the bass. Could I try out for your band? And then everything just kind of snowballed from there, I think like a month later I went up and tried out, and then I came home, back to Greensboro, North Carolina, and then like I got the call from Eddie, and he's like, yeah, if you want to be in the band, we have a spot for you, and we have these shows booked, and they were a couple weeks out. And then so I just took a flight from Greensboro to Islip Airport, which is one of the lesser known airports up there. That
MacArthur.
And,
I thought it was, yeah, Islip is super
oh
unknown.
yeah. Well,
Weird.
so well, I think it is MacArthur, but it's in. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But so yeah, like I took a flight up there, and then I never went home, and that's how that happened.
So I remember you guys all living in an apartment together in Amityville, like sort of around the corner from Ed's house and
Yeah.
Scott Martin's house. And like it was
Yeah.
sort of in between that. Like what was that all about? Was that just like out of necessity? You guys were just like, I remember like there was one room that didn't even have a bed. It was like fucking super weird.
Yeah. It was something that would, if I walked into someone's apartment and saw that they were living like that today, I would think that was unacceptable. But at the time, but at the time, I just thought, oh my God, like I was just so happy to be there. I was so happy to be in New York. It's like a big deal, like leaving North Carolina to go to New York. That was a big dream of mine always. And then to be playing in a band, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I did it. And then, yeah, but we were John and I shared one room, and Eddie had a room, and it was right around the street or the block from where from the house he grew up in. Yeah. So, and they had like moved to Florida or Texas or something. And then, so he had the basement apartment. Yeah. So he had one room. John and I were in one room, and then Jody lived on the futon.
Oh, fucking Jody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That was a really interesting time. And it's funny. Like you guys, so that was around the time when you guys were writing and recording the demo, or was that when Antonio?
Yeah.
That's post Antonio, if I remember correctly.
Well, no, No, that was when Antonio was singing. I actually found some other photos here when I was digging
Oh, sick.
for the one of us. So here's one of this was at I think like Ground Zero in Belmore or wherever it was, but um, here's Antonio singing and I'm playing bass.
Lift a little higher.
Oh
There you
yeah,
go.
sorry. Yeah,
Oh
so there's
shit!
Antonio.
Yeah.
And then there's John, and there's my bass. But check out those real dope glow in the dark stars right there on that bass.
Yeah, dude.
Doesn't get cooler than that.
No, that's some emo shit right there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I have
wait,
a
wait.
funny story. Wait, oh, you got another one?
Well, yes, I do. Sorry. Just I saw it, and the reason why I wanted to show you this one is because Juan is in it.
Oh shit!
So
Awesome.
there I am playing the bass, and if you look, let me see. So he is right there.
Oh yeah,
Juan.
with his chin strap.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a fucking sick hardcore jump you're doing right there. That's some Youth of Today shit, some Wally shit.
Well, the thing was I wasn't that good at the bass, so I had to make up for it by trying to emulate all the other people that I grew up watching.
Dude, I have a really fucking funny story, and I think throughout this interview, I'm gonna, because it was funny. I was going through your Wikipedia page, and that thing is just filled with really bad information. Because I was like, that's not true.
I actually tried to change that. I tried to change both the my personal one and the band one, and they wouldn't let me. And I'm like, well, but it's mine. Like, why can't I change my own page? So yeah.
Yeah, you had to prove, you had to show ID and shit. Yeah, throughout this, I'm gonna go through various stories that I remember that I'm not sure if I remember them correctly because of a 12-pack of beer or whatever.
2 or 3.
Yeah, there's a couple of stories. So one of them being, the last time I saw you guys play with Antonio, which I believe was the last show Antonio ever played with you guys, was at a lesbian bar called Meow Mix on Houston.
Oh man.
And that was, I mean,
I
there was maybe
just hit
4
the
people there
playing in New York City. Yeah,
dude.
Or like in those days, like it would be whoever was working and whatever other bands played, and like 2 other people at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad, I gotta say. But like I always used to say, like, when people would ask me about you guys, they're like, oh, you know, Taking Back Sunday's so huge now, blah blah blah. And I was like, stop. And I did this in the Long Island Hardcore documentary that never came out. I was like, Taking Back Sunday wins the award for most improved band of all time, hands down, hands down. I was like, so
yeah, man, we were real bad.
There's another story when you so I think it was after the demo, and people started courting you guys. And you opened for Airtype 11 at Brownies, and you had no voice at all. Your voice was so fucking shot. And you were like, Artie, can you help me?
You mean this show?
Oh, fuck. Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's all the pictures that I have. Yeah.
I was like, Adam, listen, this is what I do when my voice is shot. I just drink as much as I can, and then I just get over it. If it's just one show, it's not a big deal. So I believe me and you got fucking wasted, and the label that was there
in the basement, yeah.
Yes, and the label that was there was Triple Crown, who signed Brand New, and I believe they passed. Like you could barely get a sound out of your voice. You were like, and I felt so guilty for years. I was like, oh man, I really fucked up. But to make it better, so. Here's the last. This is probably one of the last ones I'll tell, and then we can just fucking talk about. You can talk as much as you want. You're like, yeah, dude, shut the fuck up. So,
Airtype 11
had just gotten.
I just want you to keep going.
Airtype 11 had just gotten back from. This is my part of Taking Back Sunday lore. Airtype 11 had just gotten back from a tour in England, and we got offered this Rival Schools tour through the Midwest, which was like kind of not so great. But like Phil and Adam had to go back to work, and they were out of money, and we were like, we can't do it. So I'm on the phone with Sammy Siegler, and Sam is like, he's like, well, do you know any other bands that are like ready to go, have a van? I was like, I do. They're called Taking Back Sunday. You should take them out. And I believe you guys went on that tour.
Yes, we did.
I believe you
And
got signed by Victory Records on that tour.
yes,
Yes. You're
well,
welcome.
thank you for that, Artie. Then after all these years, I think that's the first time I said thank you. So sorry about that. But yeah, we did go on that tour, and it worked out too because Dave O'Connell, his brother Mark, obviously is Mark O'Connell, the drummer in Taking Back Sunday, and his brother was guitar teching for rival schools, so that worked out great. But I remember we played the 40 Watt Club in Athens, Georgia, and my friend Emily Jane was with us, and Mike Dubin was there. Neil was there. Neil might have been tour managing, but so
Yeah, he was.
we go back.
Yeah.
We go back to the dressing room, and there's like a cooler filled with Pabst Blue Ribbon, and so I like went to Neil. I'm like, Neil, somebody accidentally left a cooler of beer in our room. Did you want me to bring it into yours? He's like, no, that's for you guys. And we were like, what? Like freaked out. Like we thought we had hit the big time because not only were we in Athens, Georgia playing with rival schools, we got like a case of free beer. We thought that was real great. And it was the first time that ever happened. But there was, or like we had done a round of demos that would become our first record, and then there were a couple songs that didn't have names, and I think it was Mike Dubin that named like a couple songs off that record on that tour.
Wow. Oh, good. Like trivia question right there. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Taking Back Sunday is pretty much the Spinal Tap of emo. I mean, you guys
You're gonna have to elaborate on that, man.
you've had a lot of members, and
yes.
and not only a lot of members, but the odd part of having members return after years, which is like, such a, like, that never happens. That's a super weird scenario. And I wanted to ask you, like, do you think that it's, like, you guys have been around for a long time, and most of the bands from your era have broken up, and or I guess the Used is still together, but there's like one member, like, it's like, do you feel like every time you guys would change members that you'd be re-energized, and that's really like the reason that you were able to persevere for so long, because the music just kept getting, it was exciting again after a couple of years?
Maybe that contributed to it, yeah, some, but it was more like each time that someone would leave the band, we would spend about like a couple months just losing our shit and like, oh my God, like we came so far, we've worked so hard, like we want this so bad. How do we keep going? Like, how can we fix this, or like, and so yeah, I mean, there, like each time it definitely was like there was a bit of like a rejuvenation. Misha's gonna turn the light on. Whoa, hello.
There you go.
But yeah, so there, like it did help to make things exciting, yes, but it was also real scary, and like we didn't want to change members. It wasn't on purpose ever, but
Right.
It just happened that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story, and when you guys first started, this was the quote that I had for you. I remember Danielle DeStefano playing me the demo in her room in our apartment, and I
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are hot water music without Jack Daniels.
yeah, there's well, like too, and then like my voice on all the earlier stuff's very or like it hadn't gone through, it sounds like I hadn't gone through puberty yet a bit, so that's what, yeah, it's
well, you
funny,
kind of had that standard emo quality at that time, but it was like the music, like the back and forth vocal
I don't know
thing.
if you're insulting me or not right now.
No, I'm not. Of course I'm not. Dude, what?
I'm just
I've sold like 10 records in my life, dude. How can I insult you? Come on, please.
Well, actually, I think now that would be like number 3 on the Billboard charts.
You've been number 3 on the Billboard charts, buddy. Come on.
I have, and number 2 one time.
Wow. Damn. Well, yeah. I mean,
like,
if you sold that many records now, you'd be number 1 with a fucking 800 bullets. Like fucking Jesus. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. I mean, I just like it was funny. Like that's what I really got. Like, and of course, like knowing Ed so well for so many years, I could walk into Ed's room, see his CDs that are sitting there, and go, "Oh, okay, you're really into hot water music. Okay, I wonder what this is going to sound like." You know, like it's
Yeah.
and honestly, when Taking Back Sunday and the first record, which changed drastically when Fred joined, you guys really did, like, you took that template of the two vocals, the back and forth, like the speed up in the chorus, like the whole thing, and like the tight rhythm section. It was very very cool, but it's so interesting, like how the progression of the band went. And how was that for you? Because obviously you were writing with whatever guitar player was writing as well. I mean, what was the writing process in Taking Back Sunday back then? I'm sure it's different now, or maybe it's the same, but like, what, you know, would John come in with a riff, or would Fred come in with a riff, or like, or would you come in with a riff? Because I know you play guitar pretty well, you know, like.
Well, yeah, it's funny because now, like, recently we've gone back to the way we did it when we first started. Just a quick hot water music story. You know, that record Live at the Hardback
Of
that
course.
they did in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
So I took a Greyhound bus from High Point, North Carolina, when I was 15 years old to go to that show. And there's me right there in the liner notes with my bleach blonde hair. And it was one of the craziest times. And it was my claim to fame. But yeah, so obviously big hot water music fans. So we in the beginning, we would, which like I said is similar to what we do now, we would just, someone would come in with an idea, and we would just kind of, they'd be like, hey, here's what I got. And then everyone would start playing and then just adding their thing to it. And then eventually we'd end up with a song. Back then, the lyric writing, because the idea was we didn't want to have a front man. Like, we wanted it to be the band, you know, and not like one guy up front. So that was a lot of the thinking for how much of the back and forth, like vocal stuff that we would do.
Right.
And then, so I remember like sitting like at like this Lindenhurst diner that wasn't far from where we would rehearse, and John and I, at like after rehearsal, we would like be like I would give him my notebook and he would give me his to see if there's anything that like popped out, and then we'd kind of build the songs around that. And then when Fred joined, it was similar. And then I like think we were trying to, like, we wanted to make everybody feel at home, and we wanted to kind of try to fast track the getting to know one another part of things. And then so we did it it was a very similar process. Like, there's certain songs like like New American Classic, like the kind of acoustic song off Where You Want to Be, was Fred had the music for that, and then so he was playing it one day, and I like just started singing that first verse from this thing I'd written in my notebook, and then the rest of the words were all his. And then like a song like 180 by Summer, we were rehearsing, and then like Fred and Matt and I had gone to like 7-Eleven or something, and then we came back and Mark and Eddie had pretty much written the whole song, and then it was just a matter of plugging words in. So
right,
things would happen a lot like that in those days. And then there was a period of time that like everyone, for whatever reason, like we wasted all this time like figuring out like it wasn't even split. So and that was, looking back, that was a big mistake, and that's why now it's just everything's an even split, you know, so that way no one feels like it doesn't create this atmosphere of like someone feeling slighted or there being some kind of like ego involved,
right,
you know, because
right.
everyone is, because if you like, I think one of the things that have made the band work, I believe, and I think the other guys think so too, is that it's what each person contributes, you know, because you can come in with an idea and by the end of it, it sounds like something completely
Totally.
different.
I mean,
So,
well, that's part of being in a band. Yeah. I mean, it's like Walter Schreifels, when I was in World's Fastest Car, he always said that because although he was taking the majority of the publishing, he was I mean, there was no publishing when it became rival school songs. Yeah. But
Yeah.
he, you know, he always talked about like, you know, you have to, like, if Sammy's playing drums, it's going to sound different than if somebody else is playing drums. And each person brings their
Oh yeah,
personality
for sure.
to it, you know, it's like, you know, and it's funny because like in the old days, you had studio guys, like say like a Carol Kay or something. She was bringing her
Mm.
personality to it, but she was just making, you know, a union fee. So it's like, it's interesting when you're in a band and you have that attitude. I mean, I definitely, the Aerotype did the same thing. You know, it's like, how do we split this up? I don't know. I mean, in Instruction, we had a whole different situation where I was just like, I don't know, guys. Like I wrote the music, the melodies, the lyrics, and it's like, I'm going to take, you know, a little bit more. And when you write the
Yeah.
lyrics, the specifics of publishing, you know, outside of punk rock publishing, is if you write the lyrics, you're immediately entitled to 50% of the publishing. That's
Yeah.
that's sort of like the way it works. And then if you write the vocal melody and the basic music on top of it, you should probably be getting a lot more than that. And like for me, I was just like, I wouldn't want to do that because I never wanted to cause friction. But I have been, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you have too. Like I had a lawyer throw us in a room and go, okay, figure it out. You don't come out until you figure it out. You know, and it's like,
Yeah, that was like well, see, like I think too at the time because things like they escalated very quickly at a certain point. It's like we were cruising along and it was very slow, and then all of a sudden we hit the accelerator, and then all of a sudden we're like trying to outrun the police. You know, like it just was going it real fast. And then I think, I mean, you know, I was a kid, and I still feel like that in a lot of ways. So,
yeah,
and then even for me, I know like there were times to where, and even with some of the other guys, you know, like your ego gets wrapped up, identity of self that's kind of based around like this band that you're in, or like who you might be to like someone who listens to this band that you're in, and it's and that's a real dangerous thing. I mean, that definitely hurt relationships, you know, like around like Louder Now and New Again and those two records. We're loading.
we're loading. I don't know. It's. Can you see
Yeah,
me?
yeah. Sorry, we
Okay.
just froze for a
So
second there. Yeah. Can you see me
from
now?
our, yeah, we can. People who come from our world can't really. You know, it's like once some money gets involved, it's like, what do you know? I don't know what to fucking do with this. You know, like
Yeah.
like, and you guys had catapulted so far, you know, so quickly. It's crazy. I wanted to go back to the Long Island scene and what that meant to you, like what that was, the influence of the people that were there, the bands. Like, I mean, you guys were definitely a staple of all that, and probably, you know, arguably the biggest band to come out from that scene. I would not even say arguably. I'd say probably definitely, you know, especially since Brand New's tragic fall. But I said it twice. I'm not going to say it three times.
Who?
Exactly. Um,
Or like yeah,
uh,
or like yeah,
like
because then they'll just appear.
the Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. It's like, you know, like Glassjaw, you guys, like all these bands that like kind of blew up, and then in the wake of it, sort of the lower tier bands that were on Victory, and like it was a really interesting time for me to personally watch. You know, just like all these kids that I knew and were getting like kind of famous and crazy, and of course I was super happy for Ed because he's one of my oldest
Yeah.
friends, and it's yeah. I mean, like what was your vibe? Was it just going so fast that you like because you were having trouble getting a record deal, and then all of a sudden like it went from 0 to 1,000 in minutes, seemingly.
Yeah, there. Well, like, because Fred at Triple Crown, I think he was gonna sign us because he just felt bad for us at like a certain point, because he was like, because like we had gone to like Amy at Fiddler and like Drive Through and like all these labels, and everybody was just like, no, 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 like no one was interested. And then it wasn't until um, there was Angel Huarbe, who we ended up being roommates for a couple years, but he was working for Victory at the time, and he happened to be in our friend Michelle's car. They were driving back from a show in like Philadelphia, and then she just had our demos in, and he started asking about us, and that's when we got the call from Victory. And like Dave Stein, who was our lawyer at the time, was like, yo, do not sign this contract, whatever you do.
Oh yeah.
And but at that point we just wanted it so bad, you know, for us to like, the idea of having a record that would be available in stores and that we could be on tour, you know, like that was and we didn't care about anything else. It's very much similar to what you were saying about like anytime money got involved at that point, we're like, well, we don't care. We just want to go on tour, and I want to be able to, like, my dad could walk into like the local record store and see our record there. You know, like that was
Yeah.
that
No,
was
it's a very
cool.
simple. It's a very
So
simple way of thinking, and Dave Stein was totally right. But
oh yeah, 100%. It's fine
but I
now,
mean,
but
their marketing, Victory's marketing at that time was genius, and you know, you guys.
I don't think I'm legally allowed to speak anymore about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll speak about it then. I don't give a shit.
Okay, cool.
Tony's a piece of shit, but like it's I feel like
You
I feel
know,
like had you not
for
done that
all of
deal,
how
you wouldn't
terrible
be where
it
you are.
was. Oh, sorry.
No, you wouldn't be where you are right now.
100%. Like had they not done what they did, Victory Records, for us, then regardless of all the other kind of like back alley stuff that was going on, like we would, yeah, there's no way we would be in this position now. I would just be trying to get a job at your bar.
I'd give you a
personally,
job.
at this point.
Job. It's all right.
Oh,
You know.
yeah?
Yeah,
Dope.
sure, man. Come on down. Sling a few White Claws, man.
Oh man, that's all there. Yo, have you seen that? That it's a Travis from Coheed and Cambria. He has this alter ego called a Fire Deuce, and he wrote
No.
a country song about White Claw. Amazing. Just you'll have to Google it if you have time, because it is just some really great stuff.
Awesome. So you obviously everybody's future is kind of on hold at the moment.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
What like, have you had any thoughts or conversations with any professional folk or any insight into anything, or is it just like we're still in wild wild west land? And
Well, I think the problem charge just in general, and that's really scary. But
Yeah.
but that's kind of the broader problem. But there's no, like, I mean, we've just been trying to do everything that we can. Fortunately for us, we had a good year last year because we were gone the majority of the year, and this year we were just planning on going into the studio to write, and we've had some festivals cancel, you know, but so really what we've been focusing on is just trying to make sure that our crew's taken care of, you know, like so we're trying to raise money to help them however we can, and then I mean, you know, donate where we can, and I've spent so many hours learning like broadcast software that there were some days to where I was almost in tears, like I don't want to be doing this, but like I think that's what it's going to be for a while, you know, like I'm a whiz at OBS now, like I can control it through my feet. It's and then hope so that
yeah,
way,
yeah, absolutely. And what give a shout out. What's the donation thing for your crew? Is it what's it on?
Well, so we did like a live stream, and then we set it up through our Venmo and PayPal, just because we didn't want anyone taking a percentage of it, because we wanted to make sure that they got all of whatever was donated. And then so now we just set up this thing to where like you know, like someone could like pay X amount and request like a personalized message, and then so I would record that and then send it to them, and then all of those proceeds go straight to the crew. And then aside from that, we're just working on trying to get together like live streams and things like that. Like I would think like if anyone's going to take the time to watch you play like either acoustic or just stripped down like that, it's I like really think it's a responsibility for whoever's performing to think further on like how could I make this special, like how could I like put like make it more of an event rather than hey,
Right.
I wasn't doing anything and I'm playing in my bathroom, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot
I've
of bad
been,
live streams out there for sure. It's like
yeah,
really
yeah.
bad.
It's man, like there's like I got in touch with this company called IK Multimedia. They make those little iRig things. That's and so I figured out how to get like sound like into my interface and then out of my interface and into my phone or like into OBS to where it's like quality audio. That was a big hurdle, and I tried so many things, and then but that's the thing that's worked. So that's great. And then we've been talking to there's this company called Switcher, and they like we're trying to get it to where we can set it up to where you can have like a remote director. So basically what that would mean was I would be in one place like at my house, and then with whatever iOS device set up, and then the main feed would be sent to like my buddy Seamus, for instance, who's a director. It would be sent to his house, and he would be doing all the things.
Right.
And then so that way that helped him out too, because he's also not gonna have any work in the foreseeable future. So we're just trying to help, you know, our friends and community the best way we can. I'm on your Kickstarter for St. Vitus there.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we actually use a company called Big Room at St. Vitus that we've been using for a while, and they're the ones that did the Post Malone thing, which is all done through an algorithm.
Nirvana thing.
Yeah, it's all done through an algorithm. They don't even have to have a director. It's just like it detects it, who's doing what lights are on it. It's crazy. Yeah, we've been using it for a while at Vitus. Wow. It's super cool. But yeah, man.
So like, just for the shows that you would have, or
yeah, for the like if you download the app Big Room, there's a couple of shows that are archived on there, but it's pretty cool, and it looks great, and it sounds great.
I'm gonna check that out.
Super cool. But yeah, so all right. So how about what's the best show you've ever fucking played?
Man, we have been so lucky that it's impossible to say. Like Brownies, which later turned into Hi-Fi, that for me at that time was like that was the peak. And then, you know, fast forward however many years later, we got to play Roseland, and that was the peak. And then however many years later, like we got to open for Green Day. They did like a DVD for Bullet in a Bible, and it was us, or no, it was a band called Hard-Fi, and then us, and then Jimmy Eat World and Green Day, and it was a 2-day thing, and it was 60,000 people both days, and just walking out on that stage was so insane. And so that I'll never forget. Like, man, there's so many. Even like last year, like, or like how we like kind of we wrapped up that 20 tour with you guys, and
that was so much
fun. You know, like, dude, such a blast. Well, like, and then even to think, okay, we're celebrating like this thing of like of us getting together and starting this band, and to be able to have you guys there, and that was just like I was like up on the balcony watching. I'm like getting all emotional. It was just a really beautiful time, I thought.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
how about you?
That was phenomenal. What's the best show I ever played?
Yeah,
I would say there's a combination. I would say Instruction at Download Festival the first time when we played the main stage, and then we played the second stage opening for Metallica as a secret. And
I remember the year they did that. That was big news.
Yeah, and what's funny about that, I'm not going to say their name, but a particular band from Long Island played after us, and then Metallica went on. but I was the one
Oh,
who
wow.
let the secret out on stage.
Oh.
So we went from playing in front of about 5,000 people to playing in front of about 50,000 people in a matter of minutes.
Oh my God.
That, and then later on that summer, we did Reading and Leeds in one of the smaller tents, but it was like 6,000 people, and it's fucking crazy. You know, like when you're on the way up and you're like a hyped band, it's the coolest feeling in the world. You know, it's like,
Oh yeah.
it's like you're like, because the band after us, who were from Brooklyn, this band Kala, played to about 200 people in that tent. So it's like
Yeah.
really, like, it's just those moments, man. Like you're just like, fuck, and that energy.
The
Like
world is mine. This is
totally,
insane. Yeah.
totally. I mean, I had never really had, like, besides playing at Brownies, say, or Mercury Lounge, I had never had those experiences at that point where I could feel people's breath singing on me. You know what I mean? Like singing back at me, singing the words.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's, you know, and I'm sure you
Dude,
get that every night. Now that you have in-ears, it's probably easier, but you know, it's cool. It's just a fucking crazy feeling.
For like certain parts, you know, you just pop those out of the ear because it just it absolutely amazes me. Like I just believe, because I, you know, when I was going through and looking for those photos, like I'm like all the other pictures that I'm finding, just it's like this memory lane, and to think that like that kid has gotten to do all this stuff, and I've gotten to meet these people, you know, that just mean so much to me, like you included, you know, like it's just a huge thing. I'm just one of the luckiest guys that I know. But could I tell you a Reading and Leeds story real quick?
Yes,
it's pretty cool.
Please. Awesome.
Okay. So we were playing at like 10 in the morning, like on like the main stage, and I forget who else was all there, but The Darkness was headlining. And so we had like gone off and we were walking around the crowd and going to the different tents and just checking it out. And then we get back to like the trailers where the dressing room is, and everybody was gone. And we were like, well, like not just our people, but everybody. And we're like, oh, they must be watching from the side of the stage. And it's crazy. So we just laid down in the grass and we're laying there. And then all of a sudden, they have fireworks and pyrotechnics, and apparently they cleared the area out, and we just didn't know. And so we weren't supposed to be there. So then directly above our heads, there's this beautiful fireworks show, and we're, I mean, you know, at Reading, and the fireworks are falling on us, and that was a bit scary, but it was just this amazing experience. So,
dude, those guys, yeah.
You said Reading and Leeds, and that reminded me of that story.
I wonder if that was the one where they rode a tiger. He like flew over the crowd in a tiger. It was like, those guys were fucking out of control at that time. Amazing.
I wish I would have seen that if that was the show where he did that.
Yeah, I know they did that. I saw them a bunch of times in England, like opening. I saw them open for Def Leppard, and I saw them play in front of about 50 people. And like every dude, they played at South by Southwest in front of 50 people. The dude did 3 costume changes
for 50 people. See, that
dude.
I have a lot of respect for that. We've never once done one costume change. I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
Oh, it's fucking unreal, dude. Unreal. Fucking ridiculous. So yeah, man, like, all right. So is there any celebrities you've met, good or bad, that you have a story about? Because you had to have met, like, you know, did you ever like run into Liam Gallagher and he was a dick, or did you ever fucking, like, was there any,
No.
Was Dave Grohl ever like the most amazing person ever, which has been my experience, but like.
No, man, we haven't really had the chance to like, we got to do Jay Leno, and Mark and I were outside having a cigarette, and we were like standing in like his parking spot. So then when he pulled up, we had to move, and he was like, and he like stayed and talked with us for a bit. We met Billy Joel not too long ago, which was
at the Long Island Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Why am I not in that?
I have no idea. You very well should be, but they no, like we were going through like the, you know, like the little red carpet line there, and Glenn Gamboa, who's been a great friend of ours for years, he made it so like they just kind of held us there for a minute, and then in walks Billy Joel, and he's just like, hey guys, you know, he's like, and he's exactly how I imagined it was everything that I imagined. And from being a kid, like having the cassette tape of Piano Man to finally getting to meet him, that was pretty incredible.
You just wanted to go to an Italian restaurant and have bottle of white, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's really whatever my appetite is. You know, it could be either or.
Billy Joel, that's a classic. My Long Island band is Zebra, but you're too young for that. So you didn't.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you didn't grow up with that. Oh, they're in the Long Island Rock Hall of Fame, along with DOC and fuck, who else? The Good Rats. You wouldn't know them either.
Oh, the Good Rat. You're gonna have to text me after this so I can go and try to look them up.
Too late, man.
No, I'm not joking.
You lost it. Fuck it, man. So, all right. So Billy Joel, that's a good one. I like that. I could deal with that. What's your favorite country to play outside of America?
Oh, you know, for a long time, I didn't like going to Germany, and it had nothing to do with Germany as a country. It was just because I felt I was just real out of my element. And then, but every time that we've gone back, like it just gets better and better, and we have just a really great time. So I really love Germany, and then the UK. The UK is kind of like a second home for us, you know, like London, and there's we have a bunch of friends over there, and the shows, for me to be able to travel so far from home, you know, because like growing up in the South, you know, like it's I like feel that there's like your world, you run the risk of your world being very small and feeling like kind of detached to like these kind of cultural epicenters, you know. I did when I was younger, and then so to be able to go to London or just the UK in general and have people be connecting with kind of what you're putting out there, you know, like you're putting it out there and they're giving it right back tenfold, you know. That's just, it blows my mind every time.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think I interviewed Frank Turner a couple of weeks ago, and I believe we talked.
He's a sweet guy, that Frank Turner.
Yeah, I've known him for years. He's fucking awesome, super talented guy. And I think we talked about this a little bit, where it was just like in the hardcore scene, for me at least, like the first time I went to Europe was 1993, and I just couldn't believe, you know, it's like you don't realize how this music.
So you were like 13?
No, yeah, I wish. I wasn't 21 yet, but I just remember though, like fucking, you know, like you saw how international the scene was. It was small, but it was bonded. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and the same thing goes for like when I went to Japan with World's Fastest Car, and the first Japanese guy I met gave me the Mind Over Matter CD to sign because it was his favorite band. And that like,
oh man,
you know, like that blew my mind. I was just like, you know, at the time I didn't even know that Rec Age had records distributed in Japan. You know, now of course it's completely different, but back then it was like, you just kind of see this sort of international thing and the scene and the music. And it's crazy. And I'm sure you've had this experience, but there's people that I met, especially in England, who just like they met through coming to see my band, and they're friends for life, and or married, and or, you know, like live together, and, you know, like just people who just known each other for years, all because of the fact that they came to see a show that I was playing, and they happened to be friends with me and or one of the other guys in the band, and it became like it's like a little tiny epicenter of friendships, and it all revolves around the music, which is fucking awesome, man. It's such a incredible thing to experience and look back on now. Like, you know, I'm 47 and I'm just like I'm still talking to people that I met on tour in 1993. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. I can't even imagine what it's like for you. It's like you've done twice as much as I have, and it's like fucking.
Well, no, that's not true. But there's. That's one of the things that I think is so amazing about St. Vitus too. Is like that's the spirit of the place that you've built there. You know, and I just think that's so important. I like one of the last times we were in New York. You know, I went walking down Avenue A, and it's a completely different world, you know, from when I was always hanging out there.
Yeah.
But then you walk into St. Vitus, and I just get that same feeling that I had, you know, and then like when you guys first opened, we had Keaton with us, who at the time was like maybe a year old, and we're like, well, we have to go check. So we brought our baby to a bar, real fucking classy, and then like, but there was and like all the black roses and like all like the things, like I was just like, man, this is the like, if I still lived in New York, this is where I would be. So I think too, you should take some credit for not only your music bringing people together like that, but then you've kind of like made this place, this destination for people that and it does the same thing for them, or at least it did the same thing for
no,
me.
and that was the spirit of it from the beginning. The idea, like I was coming back from being on tour in Europe and England quite a bit at that time, and it's like, you know, it was the same thing with when Artie, Philly, and I came back from Europe, and it was like the PWAC, you know, the PWAC was, you know, Artie was just like, we saw what happened in Europe on tour with punk bands, and we were like, well, he especially was like, why can't we do this here, where we give people food and we take care of people, and it's like, it's not such a bullshit, you know, the promoter's an asshole who steals money, you know, it's like we're doing this for the music, and it was a matter of finding a place that you could afford to do that. But one thing I'm going to say about St. Vitus, Adam, is that you've never fucking played there.
Well, we've never been asked, man. Yo,
Bullshit.
When you text me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this St. Vitus live show?" Like, I've been watching a lot of them, and like first I thought, "Yo, has Artie been drinking?" And then because I'm like, "You're gonna ask," like, because like every other band, you know, like it's like if you, it's just so much heavier and
come on, dude. Every
and
band
then I
that's
was
open
kind
for
of
you
like,
is
well,
played
I don't know
that
where
place.
I fit into this, but any opportunity to talk to you, I'll take. But we were asked once. Now that I think about it, you're absolutely right. We were asked once, but we had a show the next day in like Boston or Philadelphia, and we're like, all right, if we play for an hour and 45 minutes, go to Brooklyn and then play. We're not gonna just play a couple songs. Like if we could get there and do the thing, we're gonna play as long as possible, and then we're still gonna have to sing tomorrow. And we've been on tour for 2 months. Like I
understand.
like physically.
I'm not.
So
I'm just coming down on you because I have to, but it's cool. Well, what's funny is that you actually have been on stage at Vitus. You did karaoke. Me and you did karaoke very, very drunkenly, and that was that fucking night was fucking hysterical because
it was
you
so
were
much
like
fun. Oh my god!
You were like, no one's gonna know who the fuck I am here. Who gives a shit? I'm just like, and there were like at least 3 or 4 girls that were like, is that Adam Lazzara from Take It Back? I'm like, yeah. They came up to me. They're like, I'm like, yeah.
I was like super fat at the time though too, so they weren't too sure.
No, but yeah, and you had I think you had like a fucking full on beard. Like you definitely didn't look like your normal self. Yeah. And it was funny. And I was just like, yeah, and they're like, God, I used to love them when I was 15. And I was like, well, he's right in front of you. Go tell him. It's all good.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. That's one of the things about Taking Back Sunday that I think is amazing is that you guys somehow you've managed to keep those people who liked you at 15 up until 30 or 35, and then you keep getting people behind it, which is fucking awesome. You know, it's like it's a testament to moving on and fucking keep continuing on to evolve. It's great, man.
That really means a lot to hear you say that to me. The thing is too, that's one of the things I'm most proud about with it is that like I feel that we've been fortunate enough, and much like a lot of my favorite bands, you know, like I just feel that I've had the opportunity to grow up with them, you know, and we've always, I don't know, it's like that thing we were talking about earlier to where like you don't like really like or like people singing it back to you, and then it just becomes all one collective experience rather than, oh, here's this band on stage and here's this crowd. And then so it's like we've been fortunate enough to where that's what a lot of our shows feel like to me. And then we've also been fortunate enough to where like I've been able to grow up with the people that have been listening to us, you know, just as much as they
totally,
have been able to grow up with me.
And that's obvious. That's obvious from the evolution of your lyrics
and it's incredible.
Everything. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get cut off. We got 26 seconds. Thank you so much.
Artie,
Yeah,
I don't want it to be over.
I know. Well, we'll talk soon, man. I love you. Cool. You're fucking awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. And
Thank you for having me.
Stay strong. You're the fucking best. And good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thanks.
Later.
Love you, Artie. Thank you.
Love you, bud. Take care.